Hello everyone, this is Des, your video game guru, and today we're going to talk about how there isn't enough joy in the world to be able to make We Have a Few a great game. Let's get into it. I have to say first of all that I really had high hopes for this game because I saw it come out in early access in 2017 around there. And I saw previews, I saw screenshots, and I was like, oh, this looks like a really interesting game. But now we come to 2018 when it comes out for PS4, and I was very much disappointed. It felt like almost like No Man's Sky did in 2016, that it was very unfinished and almost basically in early access. So I'm kind of upset that this came out as a full price game because it seems like it was very unfinished. And they're still working on it because the sandbox mode hasn't even come out for it yet. So that is something that I am going to talk about today, is how disappointing We Happy Few has been. The one thing I do want to talk about before I get into the very many cons of this game is I do want to applaud them on coming up and writing a very good narrative. As far as I wanted to continue to play the game in order to see what happened to Arthur, Sally, and Ollie. It did have a good way of showing you flashbacks into Arthur's past about how he's trying to find his brother and what ended up happening to both of them during the time of, I believe it's World War II. And Sally's story arc was very interesting too. Ollie's was kind of weird because Ollie was introduced very weirdly. And I mean, I didn't enjoy playing his sections of the game too much. I really enjoyed Sally's because that's actually the first time I got a clear cutscene, and I'm gonna talk about cutscenes later on. But I just wanted to mention that, like, Sally was my first clear, no issues cutscene, and she seemed like a very interesting character from the first time I saw her. Unlike Arthur, it took me a little bit to get used to being him. But once I got to figure out how he is, his mannerisms, his morals, he got a little better. So I do want to commend them on their narrative because it was actually a very interesting one. And it's hard to find those type of narratives in games today that actually work. So kudos to them for that. On a side note, I did want to commend them for individually naming every NPC in this game. Usually in games we'll get to where you'll have the same character models used because, it saves time. So even though that there weren't very many character models used in this game, I did enjoy that they were named individually because that's a big deal when you want someone to get immersed in your game. And it doesn't help immersion if you're seeing Jim Bob 5 different times while walking down the street, because that just gets annoying after a while. So kudos to them for individually naming their NPCs. Great job, guys. My next point is a little mixed bag because while I do commend them on integrating their crafting system into this game, my lord, was it a lot. It felt like it was kind of way too much for what was going on with this game. I mean, it makes sense because I do like the way that you had to kind of craft your health and all the other stuff, like your clothing and weapons, because I don't want to just pick one up and be like, hey, here's a shotgun, let me go crazy, or hey, here's a shovel, let me go crazy. So I did enjoy that aspect that I get to craft my own stuff, but there were so many things that you could do to end up hurting yourself. And I kind of take this as out of a page of the Mario Lost Levels, like when you got the purple mushroom and you're like, oh, it's a mushroom, let me go get this, I'm gonna get bigger. Nope, poison. So I felt when I picked up all the poisonous and rotten food throughout this game, and you can end up making yourself sick trying to keep yourself fed, because in the harder modes of the game, like, you have to eat, sleep, and drink stuff, all that good to keep Arthur and other characters alive. So it was nice, but man, if you don't know what you're doing, and it's they don't really give you very many cues on how to get to certain things, it was very jarring the first time that I ended up eating poison food, and I had to go and make a sick up potion, and having to wait until nighttime to get the proper flour to mix in to get myself from throwing up, because you will continuously throw up as you're going through the game if you do not treat yourself. And it's like every, I think, 10 or 15 seconds. And it gets kind of annoying when you're trying to go and complete an objective, but then you're sitting there, ha, ha, every 10 seconds. So, I mean, I would have loved a little more kind of tutorial for that, and not just like an in-game tutorial. I think this would have been like the way that BioShock Infinite did the introduction of the Vigors. How you got a little cutscene on how they're using everything, and then you got to actually go do it. So I would have enjoyed something like that. That would have been great. But I mean, I do commend them, like, because it's not easy trying to integrate a crafting system to your game that works well. So they kind of got half and half for me. So yay, nay, good job. It was okay. But on to the next point. Now let's get to the very many cons, unfortunately, of this game. My first major issue was frame rates. There were so many parts of this game that I got to where the frame rate would drop to like single digits. And it's very jarring because 1 minute you're going, hey, I'm going 30 frames per second, and all of a sudden 2. And I'm in the middle of a fight scene that I have to win in order to progress the story. That was not helpful at all whatsoever. And also contributing to the frame rate, where we go into the cutscene graphics. There are very many times between the first and third cutscene graphics where I would just see either stuttering with no audio, or stuttering with the audio trying to speed up to catch up to the visual that was being played. And sometimes I didn't have any audio at all. Sometimes I would just see the mouths moving, no audio whatsoever, and you get a little clip at the end, and then it goes on to the game. I don't know who dropped the ball there. I don't know what happened. I hope it's maybe fixed in later patches. But that one made me almost stop playing the game. Just because, I mean, the way they entered cutscenes was very well done, but it's just the execution of the cutscene that really got on my nerves. I really hope they fix it. I hope it's patched before they enter the sandbox mode, because it was very jarring to see and not visually pleasing at all whatsoever. Please fix this, because it was like the top of my pet peeve, because there were really interesting cutscenes, but I couldn't see them fully. I had to go out of the game, go to the options menu just to see what it actually looked like. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to watch it as it is in game. So I hope that's one of the things that's addressed, because that's a big check for the con menu. Overall, even though this game had a somewhat interesting narrative, the visuals were very pretty, the crafting system was very interesting, and I'm also intrigued about the sandbox mode. The graphical limitations and disparities of this game are very jarring, and it makes it very hard and difficult to get through the entire thing feeling pleased and satisfied. So I'm really hoping that they will come out with these patches like I stated before, so it can make the game more enjoyable, cut down the loading screen times, and kind of make the crafting system make a little bit more sense. But overall, I've got to give it about a 3 out of 5 and say that you might want to pick this up on sale, because I don't think it's worth the asking price. This has been Des, your video game guru, and I will see you next time with another amazing review. Have a good day. Peace.